I'm super excited about today's sponsor. They've sponsored the podcast before, and this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I fear that us as girls struggle with PMS far more than we should, and we really shouldn't. I truly get the worst PMS symptoms. My boobs are sensitive, my face breaks out, my sugar controllings are out of whack. I feel like I'm just a bottomless pit. My mood is not the vibe, and estro control has been super helpful in helping manage those PMS symptoms and making that time of the month a lot more enjoyable. Estro Control is a formula developed by Happy Mammoth, a supplement company dedicated to making women's lives easier. Say no more. Estro Control contains science-backed herbal extracts that help support hormonal health, especially if you are someone like myself who struggles with PMS. It was created to help women feel like themselves all month long and to not struggle with the feelings PMS can cause. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code Alana at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code Alana for 15% off today.
Well, shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
Celebrity voice impersonation not an endorsement. Why go to a single furniture store when you can go to Big Sandy Superstore? Shop and compare America's top 5 mattress brands, plus Nectar and Purple. And choose from over 22,000 in-stock appliances from the top brands at the guaranteed lowest price. Or furnish the room of your dreams with a large selection of American-built furniture. With financing plans for just about anyone, there's nowhere else quite like it. Big Sandy Superstore.
Hello, good morning, angels, and welcome back to Morning Ray. I'm your host, Lan or Alana, and today's episode is going to be another spicy one. I'm not kidding. I totally forgot that I told you guys to comment like a coffee cup or teacup on my recent post, and I was so confused for a hot sec last week when you guys were all commenting the coffee cups on my Instagram post. I was like, what is going on? I was like, oh, I did tell them to do that. So I appreciate everyone who commented a teacup for this week's episode. I'll throw something in maybe in later of what you should comment, but I think it's a little fun inside joke and I get to know who's listening, and I don't know, I think it's really cute. Today's episode is going to be spicy, as I said. You guys seem to be really liking these episodes, and I think they're really fun to record, and hopefully I don't get any backlash from doing this. I really don't think the guys that I go on dates with or have gone on dates with are really listening. So who cares? It's a safe place, and if it helps you and you enjoy listening to this content, then I'm here for it, and I think it's a lot of fun, and I like listening to this sort of content. So I think it's a win-win situation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but let's get our weekly segments in motion so we can get to all your dating questions. I'm going to prioritize the dating questions that you all sent in over Instagram at LannyBFit. And if depending on the time, then we'll go into worst date stories. Maybe I'll share some of my own, some of other people's, but we'll see what the time is at. But let's get into our weekly intention. My weekly intention is to fix my sleep schedule. It is really off. I know you've heard me say this a million times, and please don't kill me for saying this again, but this week has really been off. Honestly, it's been pretty good up until this week, but this week has just been off, and I need to make sure I'm getting ample sleep because I know it makes me anxious when I'm not. So I really want to get back into a really good sleep schedule. And then my tip of the week is to really focus on your night routine at night to increase the quality of sleep that you're getting and to really help yourself wind down and fall asleep faster and stay asleep we always see morning routines on TikTok, and I know I'm a huge poster of morning routines. So like just like really focus on that night routine. It's just as important, if not more, than your morning routine. Really wind down, set the mood, get away from that blue light. I have all my devices go to like night mode and yellow light or whatever when the sun sets, which I think is a really good way, an easy way to do it. You can have it do it automatically, which is super awesome. So just get into that night routine, try read before bed, really wind down. And yeah, that's the tip of the week. Current favorites, I am back in love with my Drunk Elephant Bronzy drops. I haven't had them in a while, but I got sent them. Very grateful that I was, because I rediscovered them. They changed the packaging, but I think this packaging is better. And I just mix them in with my moisturizer, and I've been getting compliments being like, oh, you look so tan, so glowy, and I guess they're doing their job. So I really like the Drunk Elephant Bronzy drops. Just mix it in with my moisturizer. I've been using the Kiehl's Ultra Repair, Ultra Recovery Cream, Ultra Facial, I think that's what it's called, cream, which I really like. It's super hydrating and lightweight, which is super nice. And so really like that. Also obsessed with the Hailey Bieber nails. Mine right now aren't exactly hers, but it's just an almond shape, and then I did a neutral base and got ombre like French tips, which is super nice. I want to do the chrome look that she has. I have a Pinterest photo saved for next time. And I'm also really obsessed with bigger double gold hoops in my first and second holes, and then like a smaller earring in my third. They're around the same size and thickness, and I just like how it looks. It's around like a mid-size hoop. I currently have these ones in from Dainty Diamond, which is who I did a shoot for last week, which was really exciting. But really love these current faves. I'm also very much into Americanos with a little bit of milk right now, as opposed to a full-on latte. Don't get me wrong, I still love my latte. I love my vanilla lattes, iced, hot, etc. But we had drip coffee when we were at the Muskoka Beach House last week, and we had drip coffee, and we had like a little bit of oat milk in it, and I honestly really like that. So the Americano is kind of similar to that, and I've just been liking the stronger coffee vibes. And yeah, okay. Let is lettuce. That is not English. That is 110% not English. But let's get into the questions. These are all dating questions. Okay. So basically, to give a little backstory on me, maybe if you're a new listener, you don't really know my life story. I feel like I've spoken a lot about my dating experiences online, to a certain extent, but I feel like you guys know, my shtick with Shawn Mendes, Coffee Man. Shawn Mendes is Coffee Man. And so basically, wow, it's hot outside, guys. It's like literally like 45 degrees and my brain is feeling it. But okay. My dating experience. I have never had like an official boyfriend. I've had things where I was like exclusive for an extended period of time. I was exclusive with someone in grade 12 for 6 months, around there, on and off a little bit. In the pandemic, like 2020, like winter 2020, so like December 2020 till March 2021, I was seeing this one guy exclusively. We never had like a full title. We didn't really go on dates because it was like prime, like lockdown, like peak lockdown. That was probably like the last like most serious thing. I've had like little flings where I've like only really saw one person, but it wasn't like officially exclusive. But I've never had like someone ask me to be their girlfriend, never had like a long-term relationship where I've like brought the guy home and like introduced him to my parents and whatnot. But I have been on a heck of a lot of dates. Last summer was 110% hot girl summer. We always had a roster of like 3, sometimes up to 5 guys who I was going on dates with. No, I was not like hooking up or sleeping with these guys. But I was going out with them. The most I would do is maybe like kiss them or whatever. But we were going out, and I always had like a roster of 3. I feel like I'm a pro at first dates, and it's something that doesn't really daunt me or make me nervous, except for the occasional guy. I don't know why that happens still, but I feel like I'm pretty good at like the whole first few date situation thing. Obviously not an expert, but that is my experience. So take it with as you will. I want this to be kind of like a big sis advice column episode. And that's the kind of relationship I want to have with you guys. I want to be like besties, bigger sis, giving you advice. Take it with what you will. Is that the phrase? But let's do this. Okay. A listener asked, do you think you can still be friends when you friend zone a guy? Yes, 110%. I think it really depends on the situation. I've done it so many times. Maybe that's my toxic trait. But for example, like Zach, you've seen him in my YouTube videos. You've seen him on my stories. You guys really liked him. 3,000 of you tapped on his handle. But we were going on dates and I friend zoned him. And now he's honestly one of my best guy friends. And we really only met in March and we talk all the time. And that's super great. And I have also my friend David, who I friend zoned as well. And sometimes like you're just like meant to be friends and it's totally okay and cool. I'm not going to say that it's going to be like perfectly okay right away. With Zach, it was pretty much fine because it wasn't super complicated. But in other situations, it has been a little tougher and it can be a bit more tough if feelings are involved on one end. But just like keep pushing through, give them their space. And I do think it's possible to still be friends when you friend zone a guy. How to get back into dating after just getting out of a 2-year relationship. Okay, I can't really speak on the just getting out of a 2-year relationship part, but I can talk about getting back into dating after taking a break or after getting your heart broken from something that you thought was going to turn into something more, like a fling or whatever. Or like short-term, like 3-month relationship. You know, those 3-month things that like situationships. I think like just go into it with a really open mindset. Like you, at this moment in time, like your first few dates, go on the mindset, I'm just going out with people to meet people, to enjoy each other's company, to potentially make a new friend, or like, I don't know, like just like don't put it on this pedestal and don't set any of these like high expectations. Just go into it like we're going to have drinks or coffee or like a meal together. We're going to enjoy each other's company. And if it turns into another date, it turns into another date. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Then I go out with someone else or I meet someone else. It's just like an opportunity to connect with someone and enjoy their company for a couple of hours. Like, just don't think too hard about it. You can either find dates through using dating apps. I personally like Hinge. That's like my go-to dating app when using dating apps. You can use Locks Club. You can use Raya. If Bumble's your thing, you can use that. You can have friends set you up. You can have even like your parents set you up, like maybe with like a family friend or something. I don't know. Or you can even meet someone at the bar, like go out with the girls and maybe you'll spark up a conversation with someone, you get their number and you set up a date. Is there a certain amount of time you should be with someone before you move in? I think, obviously I've never moved in with a guy, and I think it really depends on where you are in your relationship. I'm not going to put a specific number, but I would definitely say more than a year. But it also depends on your age. Like, how old are you? Like, where are you along in your life? Like, it's definitely like, I'm going to say wait a little bit longer if you're only 20, 21, 22. But if you're 29 and you want to move in with this guy in 6 months of like dating them or a year, then it's a little different. You're a little later on in life. You know more about yourself. You're more established in your career. So it's really about when it feels right for you independently and when it feels right in your relationship. No 2 relationships are the same. No 3 relationships are the same. So just like feel it out, have that conversation, make sure it's mutual. And just know that like living with someone is a big deal and you learn a lot about someone living with them. I'm a huge advocate for living with someone before you get engaged or married. Yeah. Sorry, I just said a lot. How to navigate dating apps and first dates. Okay, so I personally really like Hinge. I feel like it's the classiest of the apps, in my opinion. I do have Raya. I don't really like Raya. I do have Locks Club. It's not super great because I live in Toronto. Maybe if I lived in New York or LA or Miami. I don't know. My brain always mixes those two up. It would be better. But I like Hinge. I normally like pick my age range on Hinge. Right now is at 23 to 29. I'm 22 turning 23 this year. I normally like to go out with older guys. 29 is like typically a little too old for me, but it kind of gives me something more to swipe through. I don't know. I also like to set distances. So I think proximity is important to me, so that's set as a deal breaker. I think it's set at like 19 kilometers or something, because like suburbs and whatnot, it used to be like set at 10 or 5 kilometers at one point. And then I turn this on and off, but I am Jewish, so I'll sometimes make it a deal breaker that I only want to see guys who are Jewish on my like options to swipe. But to be honest, not all the Jewish guys like have that they're Jewish on their profile, so then they don't show up. So sometimes I leave it off, but I go back and forth on this if I care, if I don't care, if it's something that is a non-negotiable. I think I've come to terms that it is a non-negotiable, but I don't know. I like to just like keep an open mind, and who knows what will happen. But just like pick a dating app that fits you the best and what you want the best. If you're looking for a quick hookup, like maybe Tinder is your thing, or maybe you feel more comfortable on an app like Bumble because only the girls can make the first move and you don't want these guys messaging you first. I personally really like Hinge. I feel like a lot of the guys, not all of them, but a good percentage of the guys on there, or like just the people that are on those apps, are looking for something a little bit more serious, less likely looking for a one-night stand or a quick hookup. I find the guys are more in line with what I'm looking for in a partner for the most part. And there's so many different things. I love the conversation starters. Not a huge fan of the voice notes, but sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's nice to hear the person's voice because they can go on my socials or my podcast. They could be listening to this podcast, hello, and hear my voice, but I could literally not know what their voice sounds like until I meet them IRL. So Hinge is my go-to, but to be honest, right now it's like the first time I've had Hinge for a while. In a while, I prefer meeting people in person, organically, at bars. Being super busy can make it really easy to fall into a dinner time recipe rut, or even with your lunches. Any meal, honestly, can get you into a rut, especially with a busy schedule this fall. You can keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. It's truly a no-brainer. It does all the shopping and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive at your doorstep, pre-proportioned and ready to cook, along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. It's never been easier. I personally love HelloFresh as a way to get exposure to new recipes, make my life a bit easier as a busy 20-year-old in the city. And I love that it's worry-free, it's super easy, it's convenient, and gets delivered straight to my door. Go to hellofresh.com/50ray and use code 50ray for 50% off plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/50RAE and use code 50ray, 50RAE for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, and thank you for sponsoring today's episode of Morning Ray.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time. No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Friends, the gym, whatever. And then first dates, wear something that you feel confident in and hot and like what you want to wear. You don't have to think about what they would like to see you in. Just like dress in the way that's like the most comfortable for you. I think that's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten. And my friend Kenzie gave that to me. She's always like, just like dress comfortable, like dress what makes you feel good. And if that's baggy jeans and a crop top, if that's baggy jeans and a baggy top, like go for it. And just like be yourself, like go somewhere. Like they can suggest a place. I like when the guy kind of sets it up. But if it's somewhere where, you know, you're not going to feel super comfortable, then pivot. Like say they suggest like a pub and you don't want to like go to a pub, and like be like, oh, like I heard like the drinks are really good at this place, and like kind of hint to them because you want to feel comfortable in the environment that you are in. But just like it's just a conversation. You're just hanging out with someone. Like, don't put them on this pedestal. And I promise, like, it will go smoothly. And if you feel like things are awkward, like, they probably think that too. Or, like, they don't think that. Like, whatever. It's not a big deal. Third date rule, or is it whenever you feel like it? I feel like the third date is like really predictable. I mean, if you like the third date rule for sleeping with someone or hooking up with them or whatever you're comfortable with, sure, go for it. If you want to wait longer, you can go for it. For me, it's just I prefer not to go back to either of our places until after the first date. Like, it's a no-go on the first date for me. Under like very rare situations will I go back on the first date or invite them over on the first date. I just like to test the grounds in terms of like personality and whatnot on the first date, but it's really up to you and what you're feeling. I don't have like a strict rule. I know Lindsay Metzler was on the podcast, and I don't know what her married name is now, but Lindsay Metzler was on the podcast we met at Acme's host, and I think she has a 6-date rule. So just like figure out like what works for you, like feel it out. Like, there's no have tos or like bad things. How many drinks do you normally have on the first date? I want to say like on average around 2 drinks. Sometimes the guy likes to order a shot, so then I'll have like a shot. But I just really pace it out because sometimes, and like feel it out because sometimes it may hit you a bit stronger or harder. But I try not to get drunk. I don't like getting drunk on the first date. I like to have like a nice buzz that kind of cools off the ice a little bit and makes me a bit more comfortable, because I do feel that I can be a socially anxious person, and I can crawl back into my shy self that I used to be very shy, still can be. And the drink just helps break that ice a little bit. But I normally try around it's normally like 2 drinks, I'd say. What is your go-to drink on a first date? I normally like to get, lately, an espresso martini or ow. I was just leaning on my foot. Like I had like, okay, let me paint the picture for you. I'm sitting at my counter on the bar stool, and I had my right foot up on my chair, like on the seat of the chair, and it was kind of leaning against the countertop, kind of being held, and my heel just slipped and I bashed my shin on the counter. Well, this isn't an eventful episode already. Okay. Go-to drink currently, espresso martini, margarita, spicy marg. If I'm feeling like a skinny legend, a skinny spicy marg or skinny marg. Yeah, those are my go-to drinks. Or like if there's a fun cocktail, I'll order that. But normally like those are my go-to. Where to meet guys? Dating apps, bars, workout classes, on the street. I'm going to recommend to stay away from TikTok. Honestly, anywhere. Through friends. If you know better places to meet guys, let me know. But that's where I've met them. How do you know when it is a red flag, when a red flag is a red flag and not just an ick? I think when it's like something that doesn't really make you feel good, you have like this gut instinct that that behavior is not appropriate or it doesn't sit well with you. Really, I've learned to really trust my gut and to just know how you want yourself to be treated and don't let someone else treat you any less than that. They should be going above and beyond of how you treat yourself. Like, you are $1,010,000 and they can't just like walk over you. They can't cancel plans. Like, if guys like canceling plans last minute or constantly changing what the plans are, like saying we'll meet at 7, then pushing it to 7:30, 8, etc. Like it's fine if that like happens once, but if it's a pattern, like that is a red flag, not an ick. You can even like ask your friends, like, am I being crazy? Like, is this a red flag or like, is this just like an ick? But I think like it's pretty evident when it's a red flag and not an ick. How to stay confident and honest with yourself when you're around guys. I think this is something that I definitely had to work on. And I feel at the beginning, I used to be like in high school, as in the beginning, I would be more confident texting guys and like actually talking to them IRL and like at parties and in person. And would get super anxious and nervous and kind of crawl up into my shell until I got super comfortable with them and built more relationship with them. But I've noticed as I've gotten older, from going on so many dates, it's made me feel a lot more confident and capable in having a conversation and just like being myself right off the bat. I'm no longer nervous about them not liking my authentic self. So I am myself. Obviously, like you all are everyone's like slightly like more reserved when you're first meeting someone, whether it's romantically, professionally, platonically, whatever it may be. Everyone is a little bit like more reserved, but just like going on more dates, it's like the more you practice, the better you get. And the more you're exposed to something, kind of like exposure therapy, you kind of just like get a little bit better. And as you get older, I feel that you start to care less about what people think of you and how they perceive you. So the more you go out on dates and the older you get, the better you'll be at just being authentically yourself and confident in yourself. And just know that if they don't like who you are, then they're not meant to be with you. Like, you're not going to lose anything that's meant for you. And just like roll with it. Like, if the guy or girl or whoever doesn't want to be with you when you're being like your confident and honest self, then we don't want them in our lives. Like, they're not worthy of being around us and being around our energy. Do you have any non-negotiables? Like, does he have to be 6 foot, etc.? Okay. I definitely would say I used to have a very specific type. Like, not that this type still doesn't happen, but I would want like such a pretty boy. Like, he had to be athletic. Like, he had to be super, super tall. Not that those were always the guys that I went on dates with or hooked up with, etc. But they had to have like this pretty boy look, and which I would find really funny because I was always so much more attracted to personality over looks. Like, the looks always were like the cherry on top when it came to earlier crushes. But I would say I definitely like the guy to be taller, like 5'10". I don't need a 6 foot or taller guy. Like, 5'10" is honestly great for me. I'm trying to get myself to be okay with 5'9", and like Justin Bieber's 5'9". I like him. If Haley can be with a 5'9" guy, I can. But just like preferably taller than me. They have to live some sort of athletic or healthy lifestyle. Like, it doesn't have to be the same level as mine. It could be more, it could be a little less, but some sort of lifestyle that shows that they care about themselves is really important for me, because I have let go of that before, and it's just made me feel guilty about wanting to live a healthy lifestyle and take care of myself. And I understand that people can change, but they never did. So that has become a non-negotiable for me. Preferably Jewish. They don't have to be like religious or like practicing, but born and raised Jewish is pretty important to me, is something I've come to terms with. They have to be like self-driven and motivated, either in their career or in a side hobby or something, because I just have learned that I dislike being with guys where I constantly feel like I'm the coach and I'm constantly trying to push and motivate them. Like, I want them to be motivating me. Like, I want it to be like this mutual thing. And I just get the ick when it's not like that. What else? They have to be respectful to me, to staff, to others, to their elders. Like, I could keep going on, but honestly, I don't think I'm too picky. My friends might say something else. I'm not willing to settle, but I feel like I don't have like an insane non-negotiables list. Like, I feel like it's pretty reasonable and fair. What is a good go-to first date outfit? Okay, last summer, it was definitely my blue asymmetrical jeans from Princess Polly. This, like, a black crop tank, either this, like, black bra top from Aritzia or the ribbed TNA racerback crop tank I really liked. And then if it was colder, I would throw like a leather blazer jacket on top, and then either like my Air Force Ones or Converse. I'm a sneakers girly. You will like never see me wearing heels. So that was like one of my go-to outfits. Sometimes if I'm feeling it, I'll wear a dress, but I don't know. In my head, I feel like that's too dressy, and I don't feel like it looks like I'm trying too hard for a first date. Like, I like to be like more of like that cool girl look. Right now, I've been definitely wearing like baggy jeans, small top, shoulder bag, and sneakers. That's the vibe right now. Like, think like Maggie McDonald sort of vibe. How long do you take to go from apps to meeting in real life? I really try to keep it like within a week. Otherwise, it's like I feel like it's gonna fizzle out, or like you just like keep texting and it never really goes anywhere. So definitely like within like 3 to 5 business days, I try to go on a date with someone. I think like that's the best way to do it, but obviously to each their own. That was the last question. I think I'm gonna save worst dating stories for another episode and hopefully collect more, because I'm pretty content with the length of time that we have right now. I've been liking these shorter episodes. So I hope that this episode was super helpful for you. I hope that was something you enjoyed. If you want more episodes like this, please let me know. I love doing these little like advice column, big sis talk style episodes. And if you did like it, make sure to leave a rating and review on Apple and Spotify. You can leave a rating on Spotify and then a rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you'd like. That's how you can support the pod. That's how you keep us in the charts. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of Morning Ray. I love you guys so much, and we'll chat soon. Bye, guys.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.